Sports Talk. Let's go. Good evening, everyone. How you guys doing? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk, and welcome to another episode of NFL Matchups. It is week 2 in the NFL. We are just rolling along. We got lots to discuss tonight. Of course, I have some thoughts about a couple things that took place in week 1, as well as I got to talk about Mike McDaniel and Miami Dolphins and that state of affairs, what's going on with them. Also, the Baltimore Ravens, what happened to them Sunday night against the Buffalo Bills as the flock fall. Again, they blow a double-digit lead, I believe, in the fourth quarter. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, it wouldn't be NFL matchups unless we discuss some matchups. So I'm going to briefly run through every matchup for week 2, give you guys my thoughts, give you guys some keys to success or victory for each of the teams this weekend in the matchup. So, but like I said, man, we got a lot in store tonight's show, so we want to jump right into it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This is NFL Matchups with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go.
We're going to be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party. Baby.
Hey, welcome back in, everyone. Hope you guys are doing all right on this fine Tuesday evening, wherever you guys are watching and listening right now. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, I believe, as well as Instagram on clutch.sports.talk. So let me know what you guys think about that. Also, if you're watching right now, man, drop a comment. Let me know what's up, man. Let me know what you guys thinking about week 1. What are your thoughts on going into week 2? What are some matchups you guys want to hear me talk about a little bit more? Please feel free to drop a comment. Also, this show is presented to you by the Grid Network. Make sure you guys check out the Grid Network on YouTube, as well as we have a plethora of other social media content guys or creators that we're trying to do some wonderful things there. So make sure you guys check that out as well. So, but hey, listen, man, before we get into the rest of the episode, want to share some thoughts, a couple things on week 1 that kind of just like came to mind as I was getting this show ready for today. And I got to start with last night with the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy did not look good out the gates. Caleb Williams did, until that changed, obviously. Shout out to J.J. McCarthy. I mean, listen, I'm a Trojan fan. Caleb Williams playing at USC, but I kind of like what McCarthy had to do, or what he did last night. Caleb Williams, to me, is a second-year guy. He was a full starter last year. And to me, I don't know, man. He cannot operate within a regular offense. He has to go off script for him to be fantastic. And I know that works for guys like Patrick Mahomes, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to run the offense within its parameters. And he kind of fell short on that last night. Missed some layups, plays that could have really changed the game for the Chicago Bears, possibly get them back into it, or even earlier in the game, maybe put it away early. I don't know. But McCarthy did not look good out the gate, but to be expected. He hadn't played a game in over a year, right? His last meaningful game was a national championship game against Washington. So that tells you right there what you need to know. And then just some social media clips that I saw about him in the locker room. He's already a captain for that team. So lots to talk about there. Indianapolis Colts, Daniel Jones. Wow. I'll just leave it at that. Wow. Okay. Because I'm going to talk about the Dolphins here in a second. Las Vegas Raiders in my home city here, right in my backyard. Pete Carroll had that team ready to go. I was watching some of that game and I was like, this isn't your dad's Raiders, typical Raiders. And they actually look functional for once in their lifespan there. They look actually pretty functional going on the road. A very difficult place in New England. I get it. It's not the same New England with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but anytime you got a team that goes from the West Coast to the East Coast time zone, they tend to trip up a little bit, but the Raiders look actually pretty solid. Dallas Cowboys surprised me. I mean, I'm still a Cowboys fan. I kind of did take a sabbatical from them last year. But I'm going to support them. That's my team, man. It is what it is. Like, I know they suck. I know they haven't won nothing in like 30 something years. I get that, so no jokes. Listen, there hasn't been a joke that someone's told me that I'm like, oh, good one, buddy. Like, you know what I mean? So, but they almost won that game if CeeDee Lamb would just catch the damn ball. Simple as that. Dak played good. You can't blame it on Dak. Defense stepped up in the second half. And Jalen Hurts, for whatever it's worth, I mean, listen, a lot of people argue him being a top 10, top 5 quarterback, or even the best quarterback in the National Football League. He did what he needed to do. He made the plays that he needed to make, and they got the win. A messy win, but nonetheless, they got the win. So what else? The kickoff, the new kickoff rule. I saw a lot more kickoff returns. I like that. That was pretty cool to see. Aaron Rodgers, 4 tutties against his former team, had a strong message for the head coach there, that basically flew him in to say, yeah, you're not going to be a part of this. And he let him know. He let him know, like, that, hey, he was glad to win that game. So both teams look actually good. The Jets, Steelers look pretty solid. So we'll see how they worked out, or were they just really just 2 bad teams duking it out and someone had to win that game. So those are my initial thoughts on week 1. Let me know if there's any other thoughts you guys think about in the comment section. And let me know what you guys thinking about that. All right, but let's talk about Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniel. Listen, it was not pretty. Tyreek Hill was throwing a fit. Did not look happy, look enraged, looked like a psychopath on the sideline there. Overall, the Dolphins just look flat. They look flat. And which is weird because typically earlier in the season, they're like the fastest team on the field. And for whatever reason, they just did not come out looking great from an offense perspective. Maybe the NFL has figured out Mike McDaniel and his offensive scheme. They figured out a way to maybe keep Tyreek Hill, keep him under, and Jalen Waddle too, so that way they're not taking off the top on the defenses. So I don't know. But I will say this, his laid-back approach to me, I think, is starting to come back and haunt him. He is the cool coach, right? He's wearing the joggers. He hikes them up a little bit. He's got no socks or the anklet socks, whatever the case may be. He looks real smooth living in South Beach. But listen, when you're a head coach, right? It's different than being a coordinator. You are the man. You have to be the head of the ship. You have to be at the forefront of all of it. And because his approach is so laid back, he might not be suited to be a head coach, right? When you think historically about really great head coaches, Mike McDaniel's style does not really come to play. You don't think about it. You think about the Belichicks, the hard asses, the hard nosed guys. Bill Cowher back in the day, even Mike Tomlin. Sean McVay. Even though he's kind of he's a hipster kind of guy, but when he needs to drop the hammer, you can tell that he can drop the hammer on his players. Mike McDaniel just seems like he's just kind of like happy to be there, and his offensive awareness or his offensive articulation or academics were great in the beginning. But now, if teams are figuring him out, what else does he bring to the table? And I think maybe his message in the locker room, it's going to start to get dicey because you're going to have some veterans on this team that are like, what the hell are we doing, man? This guy is more concerned about wearing, his joggers and his Air Force Ones than actually coaching up the team. So, it's going to be interesting what happens with him. And I feel like he's losing the locker room at this point. Tua did not look good. You gave him a boatload of money. He didn't look great. And just overall, it's still too early. I get it. But I think if I'm a betting man, between him and Brian Daboll, they might be the first 2 guys that are on the official hot seat for the 2025 season, 2025-2026 season, because his team did not come out prepared. And against Daniel Jones, like, would we be having this conversation if they had lost to, I don't even know, like even a rookie quarterback, right? But to Daniel Jones is literally left for dead by the Giants, signed with the Vikings, and then kind of just was like, hey, I'll go to Indianapolis, beats out Anthony Richardson, no surprise there, and actually looked pretty good. It's still early. We'll see how Shane Steichen can maybe continue to improve upon Daniel Jones's game, but I don't know. I don't think it's so much more about Daniel Jones. I think it's just an indictment about Mike McDaniels and his coaching ability in the National Football League. Like I said, his style, it's good up front, it's good early, but it's not sustainable because you can't be everybody's friend in the locker room. For those of you who are watching that are parents, like, you cannot be your kid's friend. You have to be their parent. And I'm not saying that these guys in the NFL are his children, but you have to have some type of like authoritative type of stance. And to me, Mike McDaniels just doesn't have it. And it has nothing to do with him not being a player. I know he was like an assistant, did the video, whatever, right? And we've seen guys come through the ranks like that, okay? Just because you didn't play the sport necessarily doesn't mean you can't coach. But I feel like in hindsight, the Dolphins were still better served with Brian Flores at the court at the helm. And maybe he was right about Tua, and that's why he was reluctant to put Tua in, right? So, and we're seeing what Brian Flores has done. He's moved on. He's one of the best defensive coordinators in the National Football League with the Minnesota Vikings, and could potentially get another head coaching job here soon. Whereas Mike McDaniels, if it doesn't work here, he might be done as a head coach. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, can he adjust this time? It's only week 1. There's a lot of football left. But will he? That remains to be seen. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. Baltimore Ravens, John Harbaugh. What the hell are we doing, man? Up 15 with like 7 minutes to go. You fall to the current reigning MVP, Josh Allen. I ain't gonna lie, man. I was watching that game thinking, all right, they got that score. I think they went up like 34 or 35-15 or 34-15, whatever the case may be. They were up double digits. And I'm thinking, all right, let me go heat up my dinner because this one's in the refrigerator. The Jell-O is jiggling, as Chick Hearns would say, the great Laker broadcaster back in the day. And then all of a sudden, bam! Like next thing you know, the Bills get a score. Ravens get the ball back. Henry fumbles, and you're like, wait, what a minute, wait, what did I just miss? Right? And next thing you know, they're just like that. And then they lose the game. They lose the game in such a fashion where it's like, why does this continue to happen with John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens? A couple things. I think a lot of the times the defense itself, they get a little lackadaisical. On paper, they have one of the best defenses in the National Football League. Stars like Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, a solid front to get after the quarterback. And then you look at John Harbaugh too. He kind of gets conservative. It's almost like he plays not to win, but not to lose, right? And I get in this particular situation, Derrick Henry, he sold, and he fumbled that ball. And props to him. He got up on the mic and said, "You know what? My bad, guys. It really." But they still had a chance. You still have to make the stops, and they just couldn't get it done. And even that third down, not the third down, but the drive itself, that they probably they should have had to win the game. Instead, they go 3 and out and they have to punt, right? They couldn't get it done. I don't know. How do you not just – I know they tried giving the ball to Derrick Henry a couple of times, but, like, if Lamar Jackson's your guy, right, and I give credit, Derrick Henry had a fantastic game. I mean, besides the fumble, you mean to tell me you can't line up Lamar Jackson 3 times and maybe get 10 yards and just ice the game? I don't know, man. But in the end, I think too, it's just a compilation of everything, like soft defense, conservative play calling, just second guessing themselves overall. And this is not just an outlying situation. This has happened several times under this regime. And so it's like, what do they need to do? If it's not in the playoffs, it's in the regular season. Listen, and I know all Baltimore Raven fans, they hated me a couple years ago when I said this, right? I got so much hate from the flock that, like, it was pretty annoying to me but I was speaking the facts. It's like, at the end of the day now with this team, and in particularly Lamar Jackson, he's talented. I'm not going to take that from him, but we don't care about the regular season for no more about the Baltimore Ravens. We know they're going to be good. We know they're probably going to win a division. We know they're going to win 12, 13 games. That's just a foregone conclusion. It's what are they going to do in the playoffs? And if this is a representation of what they're going to do, then the money wasn't justified to give Lamar Jackson or get on any other player on this team, right? So they have so much potential, probably literally the best roster in football. Literally, from if you look on offense, defense, they have the best roster. They got guys everywhere, and they do this. And again, it's only week 1, so it's not like we're going to panic because they're still going to rattle off 12, 13 wins, 14 wins maybe, and still make a case. But they just can't get out of the way of themselves. And I don't know what else you can do as a fan, or even say, like, I mean, I was almost kind of like speechless at the end of the day. Like when they lost that game, I was like, wait a minute. Derrick Henry did what? Zay Flowers did what? Lamar did what? And they lost. I mean, and the Buffalo Bills fans, I know you're like, yeah, man, we got him. But like, listen, like, let's keep it a buck here. They had to make some plays. I give them that. Josh Allen did make some really great plays, but the Ravens gave away that game, man. There's no way you tell me you're up 15 points with like under 7 minutes or 8 minutes, whatever the case may be, and you don't put that game away, and you want to be considered a championship caliber team. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, because it's crazy to me. All right, we got Team Zamora. He's talked about McCarthy tries to throw every ball hard, no touch. Yeah, I'll give him that. But he did make that really nice touch pass to Aaron Jones in the fourth quarter. That was a really good throw. He says same issue he had at Michigan, but he does like his competitiveness. I like that. And I think that's what I liked about him over Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, to me, man, and listen, I may offend some people, but I wouldn't be my true self if I didn't put this out there. I'm not rocking with people that's painting their fingernails as a man. Like if I'm on the Minnesota Vikings, I'm in the locker room before this game. I'm like, before this game, in the locker room saying, ain't no way in hell we're losing to a guy that gets his nails touched up and gets the gel or acrylic, whatever the hell you want to call it. No way. As a man, I cannot lose to a guy like that. I'm just keeping it real right there. I mean, it may be insensitive, it may be offensive, but it is what it is, man. Like, I'm just keeping it a buck. And he just doesn't give me like leader, his aura is not very like leaderish. I know that's not a word, but it's like, and when you look at McCarthy, it's like he's a rookie, and you can tell he had poise, he had command. A lot of times I see Caleb Williams, he's got his head down, he looks all funky, and like he just doesn't have that whatever it is. And it's not working out for him, and I don't think it's going to work out for him. And I know it's only year 2, but it's like it's a lot of questions about him. What's up, Ben? He says, anything short of Super Bowl appearance grounds for possible letting John Harbaugh go. And yeah, absolutely. He's been there long enough now. And what I said 2 years ago, I told Ravens fans, and they got on me for this. I said, if you guys are not even making a minimum of an AFC conference championship game, the season's a wash. It's a wash. But the stakes have gone up now, because since then Lamar has won 2 MVPs, number 1 seeds, and they can't get it done. So, and then Ben says, you can tell in the second half last night that Ben Johnson was frustrated. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because Caleb Williams has lived off of the ad lib. He's great outside the pocket. We saw that in the first drive, right? Where he rolled around and scrambled and ran it into the end zone. That's cool. But after a while, defenses in the National Football League are going to start to settle in. And when they do that, you got to be able to make throws. In that first drive alone, he missed Rome Odunze on a post, right? Late in the game, he missed DJ Moore. Like, hell, I could have probably threw that ball and got a touchdown with DJ Moore. And I already know DJ Moore's got to be frustrated, right? He has to be. There's no excuse now. They went out, they drafted guys, they tried to bolster the offensive line. They got weapons, they got a running game. What is it, man? Like, what is it? I'm pretty sure they're flying in, exotic nail polishes from around the world. I don't know. So, excuse me. So it is what it is. But I'm definitely concerned with Caleb Williams moving forward, because it just does not look good for them. And I know Ben Johnson is supposed to be this guru of a coach, but I mean, dude, if the guy is shit, the guy is shit. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do about that. All right, we got any more comments here? Nope. We're going to move right along to the best part of the show, the matchups part, right? And it wouldn't be NFL matchups if we don't talk about the actual matchups here. So let's talk about week 2. We starts off with Thursday Night Football with the Washington Commanders and Green Bay Packers. I was talking to my boy Bryson on the Carbon Up podcast show this morning. This is a juicy one. This is a juicy game for a Thursday night. Like, I feel like this is a treat. I feel like I need to get dressed up in a bow tie and watch this game, because typically Thursday night games have been kind of, now last week we were good too, because, Cowboys and Eagles, there's a rivalry there. Both teams look pretty good. But this one, week 2, I'm liking it, man. I'm really digging it. So let's get into the notes here about this one particularly. This game is Washington is going to Green Bay. It's a 48.5 is the total on that. And I believe the Packers are there, minus 3.5 favorites as of today. So, but keys to victory for the Green Bay Packers, I would say, is just play really good defense, man. Stifled Washington. Their offense did not really look that great last week against the Giants. They only managed 21 points, and that last touchdown came pretty late with Deebo Samuel. As far as the Commanders are concerned, they're going to have to win the turnover battle, right? Whether it's not turning it over or getting some takeaways. and they're going to have to sustain drives, right? Because the Packers can score the football. We saw what they did to Detroit. They pretty much dismantled them. You add like a Micah Parsons, with Rashawn Gary and the rest of that defensive line. They're going to get after it. They're going to get after it. And Jaden Daniels likes to run the football a little carelessly for my taste a little bit. But that's going to be the key right there for the Washington Commanders. So, but in the end, I do like the Packers to at least cover the spread at home on Thursday Night Football. So I think that's going to be a really, really good game. Let's see. Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Cleveland Browns at home. The line opened up at -12.5, but it's actually dropped now to -11.5, and the over-under is 45.5. Listen, the Ravens are going to have to fix their late game breakdowns. That's number one, right? This may still be a close game. It shouldn't be, right? But it's a divisional matchup. They tend to play each other a little bit close, especially in this division. But if this game is close, the Ravens, I think, overall should have the best talent or more talent or is more talented to overcome. As far as the Browns are concerned, they're going to have to execute in the red zone better. Red zone execution was a little dicey last week in their loss to Cincinnati. And listen, you wasted a Myles Garrett masterpiece. I mean, like 2 or 3 sacks. You lose the game still. That's why I'm not a big fan of like paying these guys that are defensive ends, because they get all these stats and you still lose the damn games anyway. But I regress. But overall, I do like the Ravens to win this game. I think just overall, the Ravens are just more talented than the Cleveland Browns, and they're going to be at home, and they're going to be a little bit more feistier after blowing that lead. They conceivably should have been 2-0 right now, but we'll have to wait and see. All right, moving on, we got the Bengals taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. The Bengals, little lackluster. The line opened at -3.5 for this one. Bengals are going to have to protect Joe Burrow. That's everything for them. That's their life. That's their air that they breathe. If he goes down, they are pretty much cooked, as the kids would say. The Jags secondary is not that great, and I know Travis Hunter was drafted, but I don't think the Jags even really know what they want to do with Travis Hunter. Like, he played a little bit of snaps on defense. I know he's nursing a shoulder injury. He did catch a couple of receptions, I believe like five receptions for like 66 yards, or don't quote me, but he did touch the ball a little bit. But if there's any team that's going to attack their secondary, it's going to have to be Cincinnati. You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Burrow. What else do I have to say about that, really, at the end of the day? As far as the Jaguars are concerned, they're going to have to push tempo, and they're going to have to – Trevor Lawrence is going to have to get crafty out there, right? They're going to have to sustain drives and push that ball as well down the field, but they're going to have to move quick, all right, in order to beat Cincinnati. But I don't think that's the case. I like the Bengals in a money line to end up edging out the Jacksonville Jaguars, because in the end, I think the home field advantage will be a little bit too strong. But I like Joe. I'm a Joe Burrow fan, so maybe I might be a little bit biased to that, but I do like him. But I like the Bengals in the end. All right, we got Cowboys at home taking on New York. Russell Wilson is still the starting quarterback. The Cowboys are -5. Home favorites. Okay, pretty. I thought would have been a little bit more, but I think the odds makers are giving the Giants defense a little bit more credit. They know that their offense sucks, and it does. They can't protect, but their defense, I think, is going to do all they can. They kept them in that game week 1 against the Commanders. I think they're going to try to do the same thing here again. So as far as keys to victory, the Cowboys are going to have to pressure Russell Wilson. He is not the same playmaker. He is not the guy that can roll out, drop that. I forgot what the pass that he used to call, like the drop, whatever he used to call it. He's not that guy anymore. And I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see Jackson Dart in here at some point. As far as the Giants are concerned, they're going to have to run the football. They were pretty inept last week. They could not muster any run traction against the Washington Commanders. I think they only rushed for 33 yards total. Excuse me. So they're going to have to do that. And if there's any team you're going to do that against, it's going to be the Cowboys, right? Cowboys still gave up a lot of rushing yards. A lot of that was to Jalen Hurts kind of just ad-libbing, scrambling. But they still have not proven to me that they can consistently stop the run. the rushing attack. So in the end, that's going to be one of their keys to victory, especially if you're not going to get the quarterback play that that you need in order to win the game. However, though, I do like the Cowboys to cover at home. I know their home advantage isn't great, but Dak Prescott does not lose to the Giants. It's very seldom that he does. So I do like that in his favor. So I like the Cowboys in that one. All right, we got Bears and Lions. Ben Johnson coming back home to where he got his so much success under Dan Campbell and the Detroit Lions. Obviously, we talked about the Bears just a little bit long ago. Lions, what the hell happened to you guys? They literally got their ass clapped. Not smacked. I'm talking about clapped prison style. Like, I was expecting more out of that game. I'm not going to even lie to you, man. I know, they were on the road in Lambeau, a place that they historically don't win a lot of games, but to just get this dog walked was just crazy to me, because thinking like, all right, they lost 2 coordinators, but still they got some talent. But this is a make it or break it year for Dan Campbell, because me personally, I knew he had good coaches around him. We're going to really see if this guy can coach. So we'll see if they'll be ready to go against a division foe. The line opened up on this one, I believe. I think right now it's Lions -4.5 at home. At the end of the day, the Lions are going to have to just use their backfield. They're going to have to run. The way the Minnesota Vikings came out in that second half with Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones, the Detroit Lions are more than capable of doing that. With the running backs that they got back there, they should be able to do that. Take some pressure off Jared Goff, right? Don't let him – you can't put it all on him, right? Let the run game do its thing. I know they got Jamison Williams. They got Amon St. Brown. You got what's the tight end? I forgot his name. It just blew me. Not Hawkinson. Laporta. You got Laporta. They got offense. But run the ball. Let's get back to basics there. And I think they should be okay. As far as the Bears are concerned, they're going to have to force turnovers, because I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be good enough to get to get points on the possessions that they get. They're going to have to create more opportunities for him to get going. Now, obviously, Ben Johnson knows this team, so that's a slight advantage there. I think that's maybe why the Lions is a little bit closer. But no doubt in my mind that the Lions win this game. So I like the Lions here in this matchup. All right. Dolphins taking on the New England Patriots. They are -1.5 favorites at home. The Dolphins just need to reestablish balance within their offense. Running games, non-existent. Find the ways to get Tyreek Hill the ball. He doesn't have to run 25-yard come-over routes or post or go deep. Like, simply line him up in the jet, put him in the slot, move him around, give him the ball. He's fast. He's an athlete. Then you can go to Jalen Waddle, right? They got talent too, but I think they're just trying to do too much. I think they're trying to keep up with the level of expectations that they set in the prior seasons. And Tua just has to protect the ball, man. Like, I've never been a big fan of him. Can he play? Yeah, he shows moments, but at the end of the day, you got to protect the ball, man. You can't be giving the ball over and then just be so nonchalant about it in the presser, like, it happens. Like, no, bro, like, you can't do that shit. All right. So anyway, Patriots, listen, they came into this season, everyone thought Vegas had them at a win-loss over 8.5. They had them at, most people were taking that. I was like, this is not a great roster. And I know Mike Vrabel's a hell of a coach. I think it's going to take at least 1 year to get it right. Right, Jake May had a decent season, but this team is devoid of talent at the end of the day, and the Raiders showed that. They showed that to them. So, like I said, the line is -1.5 as of right now. At least last time I checked. I like the Dolphins in the end, but I think for the Patriots, this is going to have to be a grinded out game. Right, they're going to have to get turnovers. They're going to have to run the ball. They're going to have to play within the box, get behind the tackles, run behind your guards. It's going to have to be one of those rock'em sock'em type games in order for them to win, because we know the Dolphins is a track meet, right? They can be explosive. They hung like almost 70 points last year on somebody on Denver or something crazy like that, or 2 years ago. Like, they can do it. But so they're going to have to keep this game very close, limit their mistakes, and maybe they got a chance. But in the end, I like the Dolphins at home. All right, San Francisco going to New Orleans. San Francisco again, man. Like, I don't know what's in the water up there, or their strength and conditioning, because Purdy is dealing with a toe injury. Kittle out, injured reserve, right? Christian McCaffrey still not 100%. But the Niners are still favored at -6.5, right? So that lets you know how bad the Saints are. At the end of the day, if McCaffrey's out there, you just run the hell out of him until you can't run him no more. I mean, it's pretty simple. That's how that goes. So, you know, you don't have George Kittle anymore. So I would say your best bet probably go up tempo a little bit faster. You got Ricky Pearsall, who might be a nice little receiver there. They went ahead and made the trade for Brian Robinson Sr. So you got a backup there in that regard. As far as the Saints are concerned, like, listen, just pray, man. Just go down to the French Quarter, get you one of them voodoo daddy dolls or whatever the case may be, and just pray, because I think in the end, the 49ers should win this game. Even with Purdy. Purdy's going to play. I don't think a toe injury is going to stop him. And McCaffrey is still healthy enough that should be enough to get over the Saints, because the Saints they're not a good football team. They really aren't. And Kellen Moore being the head coach is kind of laughable. I know he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles, but like, come on, like, it's the Eagles. Like, I probably could have won a Super Bowl as offensive coordinator with the Eagles, right? So it is what it is. But I like San Francisco on that one. Let's go Bills at Jets. This is going to be an interesting one. A battle for the AFC East. The Bills are opening it up at -7. Over under on this one is 45.5. Listen, Bills to me is driven by one man. Anybody guess who that man is? You guessed right. Josh Allen. If he's able to sustain drives, avoid turning over the ball, because the Jets will do that. I know Justin Fields had a great game, but he's prone to giving you a turnover here or there. The Bills should win this game, right? But on the other hand, the Jets need to get to Allen. They need to hit him a couple times. They need to rattle him a little bit, right? And they got the guys to do that, right? They got a pretty solid defensive front there. They got some guys on defense. At the end of the day, but the Bills to me are the kings of this division. And until proven otherwise, I like the Bills in this one to win this game on the road in the Meadowlands against the Jets. All right, we got the Seattle taking on the Seahawks. The Steelers flying to the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seattle Seahawks. This game opened up at -2.5 for the Steelers, 40.5 over under. Pittsburgh is going to have to just do what Pittsburgh does: play tough defense, keep it close. And Aaron Rodgers, we'll see. We'll see if last week was just a mirage of sorts, or does the old man still have some left in the tank? As far as Seattle is concerned, the quick strikes, you got to get the ball out to Jackson Smith and Jigba. You utilize your running backs and just get the ball in and out, because you already know that Steelers defense, they won the game, but they put up 30-something points, man. Or they gave up 30-something points. Guys like Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, they're not happy about that. They're not happy about that. So I would expect a heavy dose of those guys. So therefore, if I'm Sam Darnold, I'm going to use the 12th man, or excuse me, not even 12 man. They're not even, they're on the road. So I take that back. Steelers are not traveling to Seattle. Seattle is coming to them. Right. So get the ball out quick, man. And just say, you know what? I'm not hanging on to this ball 2 or 3 seconds. 2 seconds max. If not, I got to get that ball out there. And that'd be my mindset if I'm an offensive coordinator, because you already know the Steelers are going to be coming with that hunger and that ferociousness to get after the quarterback. But in the end, I think the Steelers will cover this game. They'll win and because of their defense and overall late execution. I do like Seattle still. I think they had some flashes last week. They just couldn't finish. But this is just a tough game for them, I would say. But I'm going to go with the Steelers. All right, we got Rams taking on the Tennessee Titans. Rams 5.5 favorites on the road in Nashville. Tennessee down the stretch could not help out their rookie quarterback Cam Ward. They had several drops that were game changing, especially in the end, and from guys like Calvin Ridley, who are veterans in this league. I thought they had a chance to get right back or win that game, or at least make it kind of sporting in the end. They didn't get it done. As far as the Rams are concerned, just continue to pressure the quarterback. They got after CJ Stroud this past weekend, and they limited his big playability. Like, they didn't even give up a touchdown. So that defense is really good. As long as Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, this team is going to go far, no doubt in my mind. And the Titans are just going to have to lean on guys like Tony Pollard. Execute when they give these plays. Catch the damn football. I mean, how about that, right? But I don't really give them a shot, So I like the Rams in this one at -5.5 to win this one easily and get that victory and improve to 2-0. Because overall, I think they're just the better team. They got the better roster at the end of the day. So, all right, we got the let's see here. We got the Eagles. We're bouncing around a little bit here. Eagles at the Chiefs. This is probably the game of the day. This is in the late window. Did I skip a game? No, I did. Okay, yeah, late window. Big news today. He's back. Jalen Carter, it will play. He served his quote unquote 1-game suspension last week when he was not allowed to play at the start of that game after spitting in Dak Prescott. So he will play. That's big. I know the Chiefs were probably like, cool. If we can get them without Jalen Carter, because we already know what he did to them in the Super Bowl. I mean, Eagles are a favorite. -1.5. I think that's a little too close. I honestly, I'm personally, but I'm not an odds maker. It is what it is. I'd have to get an odds maker on here, but I'm just going off what I see. As far as keys to victory, I mean, listen, Hurts is the driving factor for this team, at least from an offensive standpoint, right? Everything gets going because of him, right? And we'll talk about Saquon Barkley because he's a Hall of Famer and first ballot Hall of Famer, at least in my book. But at the end of the day, this team doesn't go anywhere unless Jalen Hurts is the driving factor. So I think they're going to have to continue to do what they did. They're going to have to clean it up on offense a little bit. You're going to have to throw the ball to A.J. Brown at some point. Like you can't. He only had one catch, one target last week. That's kind of crazy to me. Devontae Smith didn't go wild either, and it could have been a reflection on the Cowboys defense. I don't think it was. I think they just were like, Jalen's got the hot hand. Let's continue to ride him until we can't. As far as the Chiefs are concerned, I don't know what you do, man. You're coming off a loss in Brazil to the Chargers. You can't really protect Patrick Mahomes against this Eagles team. We saw that in the Super Bowl. You're down Xavier Worthy. New offensive line. With that said, you still got Patrick Mahomes at the end of the day. So I think this game will still be close just because it's not the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be able to do some other things that they probably should have done probably in the Super Bowl. And obviously this is a new team too for the Philadelphia Eagles. They lost some guys on defense as well. Lost some coordinators from an offensive standpoint. So I think maybe that's why the money line, the spread was -1.5. But I like the Eagles. Even though they're going into Arrowhead, I think this is going to be a close game. But I like the Eagles to get the job done. I don't say it's like a passing of the guard here or passing of the torch. But this is going to be a very, very intense playoff-like atmosphere type of game. But I like the Eagles in that one. So we'll see. Let's see what we got here. All right, moving on. Let's see. We got reading through my notes here. Let's go Lions. We'll go Lions and so I take that back. I'm sorry. We'll go Falcons and Vikings. Both teams coming off, one of them lost, one of them won, but what's the word? Not pressure packed, but like very emotional types of games. I mean, Falcons, lose. They could have tied the game late, but their field goal kicker missed the kick. The Vikings made a very, very poised comeback on the road, so they're feeling that emotion. Both teams are very talented. In my opinion, I think the Vikings are a better team. But the Vikings, to me, they're going to have to pass the ball a little better, start earlier with McCarty. We learned that. And just have a balanced offense, continue to feed Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. That's why you got him back there. I ain't worried about defense. I know Brian Flores is going to dial up what he dials up, right? He's a very good coordinator. As far as the Falcons offense is concerned, Bijan Robinson's got to be the focal point. I know Michael Penix is showing some flashes. They got offensive talent too between Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Ray McDonald. Like they got some guys there too. But I just like the Vikings in this one at home. They're going to get all the Vikings fans out there to be doing that skull thing, whatever the hell they do there in Minneapolis. So, but I do like the Minnesota Vikings in that game. So we'll see. But that's Sunday. That's a Sunday night game actually. So should be a good one. All right, let's go double headers to wrap up the. I didn't get to every game. I did not get to every game. Well, let's talk about the Carolina and Arizona Cardinals. I mean, listen, both teams. I won't say they're similar, but they were similar, I would say, in kind of a weird way. Because Kyler Murray, he's been in the league a while now. Bryce Young kind of had a resurgence last year a little bit after he got benched for Andy Dalton. Rattled off a couple wins down the stretch there. Looked pretty good last week. tough loss for them at the end of the day in Jacksonville. Just couldn't get any really good footing there. And Arizona went into New Orleans, kind of eked that one out. I was a little disappointed in their output because the Saints just aren't a good team, like period. So, but Carolina has to go on the road again. They got to travel cross country to Arizona in Glendale, take on the Cardinals. I think for the Cardinals standpoint, Kyler Murray is just going to have to continue to make big plays for this team. Get him around the football, get him completing some passes, to their tight end as well as Marvin Harrison Jr. And I think their defense is it's a little mid, but it should be okay against a very kind of underwhelming type of offense from Carolina. So, and then as far as Carolina is concerned, running the football, I think is going to have to be crucial for them. Running the football, keeping it close, limiting their turnovers, because Bryce Young is still learning. He's still a young guy in this league. And winning on the road is not very easy in the National Football League. And traveling cross country again, back-to-back weeks is a little concerning for me for a young quarterback. But I like the Arizona Cardinals to win this game at home behind the Red Sea. So I like Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. All right. Last two games, we got a treat on Monday night. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Houston Texans on one of the first games for Monday Night Football. Texans 2.5 favorites, over under is 44.5. Listen, this Texans are going to have to find a way to get Stroud back on track. As simple as that. I mean, you lose Stephon Diggs. Tank Dell is still recovering from his knee injury that he sustained last year. Nico Collins is their guy there. Joe Mixon's out for a couple more weeks. Like, they're going to have to find more production from somebody else at the end of the day. You traded John Mechie to Philadelphia, but Stroud is going to have to up his game, and he's going to have to limit his mistakes too as well. Bucks just, really gutty win. Baker Mayfield played pretty well, and I think they got a star in I forgot I can't pronounce the kid's name, but Ubeka, the rookie out of Ohio State. I think he's going to replace Chris Godwin. Even when Chris Godwin comes back, I don't think he'll be the same player anymore. But they found a dandy in that guy. So at the end of the day, I like the Texans in a weird way because their defense is still really good. You got Will Anderson, Derek Stingley Jr. They can get after the quarterback, Danielle Hunter. And they're at home. But I do like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but in the end, my gut is going with the Texans. I do have a fondness for the Texans. They were kind of my side team that I was using when I was cheating on the Dallas Cowboys last year. So I'm gonna go with the Texans to win this game. But it should be a good Monday Night Football game in Houston. They know their football down there. So, and then finally a big matchup here in Las Vegas next this Monday night. LA Chargers taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Teams both coming off of really, really good wins. One in Brazil, one on the road in New England. The Chargers open up as -3 favorites on the road here in Las Vegas. Look, Chargers, they're the road team. They're going to have to keep their offense on the field early and often as possible, just to disrupt whatever the Raiders are trying to do. Right? I think Justin Herbert, I'm going to say he proved his naysayers wrong, but it was a step in the right direction, I would say. I think a lot of people are still kind of like iffy on him. I think he's a good talent. I just got to see more wins from him in the playoffs for me to be like, all right, I'm on the bandwagon with him. But he's still a very fine and strong quarterback. As far as the Raiders are concerned, run the football. Run the football. Let Geno Smith make the throws that he needs to make. And this is what I like about the Raiders in this offseason is that, like, when they got rid of AP, I was never a big fan of AP being the head coach because I felt like he's like a cheerleader, right? They didn't need a cheerleader. They didn't need a guy that every time came up to the mic and be like, "Yay. I used to ref for the Raiders." You know what I'm saying? Like we don't need a culture of guys that are like that. Like, and I think AP was a great player. Might be a really like position coach, but to be a head coach, nah. Like the minute they hired Pete Carroll, it brought them instant credibility because now you have an adult in the building that can go out and make moves. When they got Geno Smith, I was like, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but that was a very significant pickup because now you have a very consistent quarterback. What's one of the biggest struggles that the Raiders have had? And to be fair, Derek Carr, he did all he can do, but it's been the quarterback play, right? After Derek Carr was let go, Aiden O'Donnell or whatever his name is, like really, like Jimmy Garoppolo, like they've had bums at the position. Geno Smith, he may not be an all-pro, all-world quarterback, but he's definitely efficient. And he'll have his games, but I do like what they did. They're trying to get better on defense, right? They bring in Chip Kelly to kind of update the offense, right? So, I like what they're doing, playing strong, solid defense, running the football. That's how you're going to win a lot of games and at any level in football. And I think people forget that. Like, we look at the Miami Dolphins and like their ability to strike, it's like, but there's no culture to it. There's no substance behind it. You got to be able to run the football. And I think Pete Carroll's brought that. He's brought some sustainability. He's brought some credibility with the organization. But as far as like keys to success, run the football, play defense, and not turn the football over. It's going to be a very, very intense environment. It's going to feel like a playoff game. It's a Monday night opener here in Las Vegas. The Raider fans are going to be rabid. But in the end, I feel like the Chargers still win the game. So I think the Chargers will just have a little bit more offense at the end of the day. But it'll be a good matchup between two coaches that don't really like each other. And this goes back all the way to their college days between Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh. So, all right. So those are your matchups for week 2, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We do got some comments here. This is from earlier. Sorry, I didn't read those, Ben, but he says, Ben, put loss on Johnson as well. Yeah, you know what? There was some questionable play calling down the stretch. I think he's still learning his way to be an NFL head coach. Ben also says it would be hilarious if Flacco wins in Baltimore. It would be. And I don't put it past him because Flacco is kind of like that guy, man. Like he isn't the same guy that we saw win a Super Bowl, but that old dog, guys, he has a couple tricks still in his bag there. We got the Smooth. Still didn't change that picture, so we're not going to read your comments. No, I'm just kidding. He says, go Birds. He says, fly, Eagles, fly. So he's another obnoxious Philadelphia. Oh, there it is. There he finally changed his picture again, but he's posing again. I don't know what's going on with that, but he's laughing again. So, yeah, all good. But, yeah, there you have it. So, lots that we covered today, man. I think moving forward, I'll probably be live on Tuesdays more often, and that just works best for my schedule. But it's been a treat. It's been a dandy getting you guys this information. So I hope you guys learned something that you can go around the water cooler at your job place and talk a little bit more smartly about football. Because this is what I love to do. I love doing the matchup show. So other than that, that's all I got for you guys, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure to make subscribe. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, or whatever. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying anymore. I'm a little tired today, but make sure you just check out the social media platforms. Go and subscribe, man. Check us out on the Grid Network. Go to Clutch Sports Talk Podcast on TikTok, YouTube, as well as Instagram if you're watching on Instagram right now. But other than that, man, are we getting any more comments anywhere else? Let's see. No, that's it. We're good. So other than that, man, appreciate you guys for tuning in. And as always, like I always say, man, this is your boy Ryan Flowers, a.k.a. Clutch Sports Talk with NFL matchups. Never settle till the work is done. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.